Hey everyone, I hope you had a wonderful Shabbat. Yesterday we read Parshas Vayeshev, and then this week is Parshas Miketz, but I had some thoughts about the Parsha and Chanuka over the last couple of days, and I wanted to share that with you today. So one of the amazing stories we have is the story about Yehuda and Tamar and how they eventually got married. But when Yehuda was, so to speak, hiring Tamar for her services, he gave her 3 items. And if you look at the pasuk, these 3 items are chosamecha, your signet ring or your seal, ufsilecha, his cloak, your cloak, umatacha, and his staff. So he gave her these 3 items and basically said, you hold on to these as collateral, and when I come back with a sheep, I'll pay you for your services. So one of the interesting things that the Baal Turim says is that ufsilecha is the same gematria as ha-tfilin. So you could understand this, that he actually handed her his tefillin. And one idea I had around this was, if you look at these other items, you don't necessarily need your signet ring every day. You don't necessarily need your staff every day. But you absolutely need your tefillin every day. So we don't put on holidays, but generally speaking, you have to put on your tefillin every 24 hours. And so I want to, in my humble opinion, maybe it's a chidush, maybe it's not, but I want to suggest that this was the item. If it was his tefillin that he was giving to Tamar as collateral, it was showing that he was going to pay her back very quickly, right? Because you have to put on your tefillin every 24 hours. So I think that's an amazing thing. I've been thinking about this because ufesilecha is an allusion to Chanuka in Parshas Vayeshev, because Petil are wicks, right? And so we have wicks and the olive oil, and you light the Chanuka candles. All right. The other thing I was thinking about was actually Parshas Bereishis. Really, everything is in Parshas Bereishis, right? So if you look at the second pasuk, I'll just read it. It's V'ha'aretz haisa tohu vavohu, v'choshech al pnei sehom, v'ruach Elohim merachefes al pnei hamayim. So it goes into describing that after Hashem created the heavens and the earth, that there was chaos, utter chaos, emptiness, void. Again, the commentaries, have a field day at all of these interpretations. And it says that there was a spirit of Elohim hovering over the face of the water. And so this, famously, the commentaries say that this was Mashiach. So even though the entire world was chaos, Hashem baked in the solution when he created the world. And so this is Mashiach hovering over the face of the waters, or the spirit or the energy of Mashiach. One thing that I was thinking about is that, Mayim is Torah. That's another way to say Torah, right? And I think one way to understand this is that Mashiach will come when everyone's face is lit up with Torah. And additionally, where we see this godliness or divinity in the face of everyone else. And so we have to really attune ourselves to this. There was an amazing story from R Shmuel Kamenetsky, I believe, in Philadelphia. And he was visiting one of the local schools. And he would walk around and he would go to the different classrooms and he would just kind of observe what's going on. And after he visited one of the classrooms, he looked a little different. He just didn't look as happy as he was before. And one of the people asked him, what's wrong? You always make your rounds and you're smiling, you're happy to see all the children. And he said, I thought you only allowed Jewish kids in the school. And someone was like, what do you mean? This is a Jewish school. Of course we only allow Jewish kids. And he said that there was one kid who wasn't sparkling the same way, because a Jewish neshama sparkles. And so then it turned out the school did an investigation, and it turned out the kid wasn't Jewish. The mother didn't have a conversion that was an Orthodox conversion. I'm not sure what happened after that. Perhaps the child went through an Orthodox conversion. But I think it gives you a sense of when our Gedolim have Ruach HaKodesh and what it means to have Ruach HaKodesh. And they actually perceive sparkles, right? He saw that the child's neshama didn't sparkle the same way a Jewish neshama sparkles. And that is a sense that everyone can develop. Rabbi Nachman actually says that a person will have Ruach HaKodesh in their hitbodedut, and he recommends doing an hour of hitbodedut a day. And so I just think this is a really cool idea that we can all start to develop this. Even if we don't see anything, eventually you will. If you just walk around and you judge everyone favorably and you try to see the shine in everyone's face, you try to see that they are also a creation of Hashem. Even animals are creations of Hashem, and trees, and you can see that. That will really attune us to this, dimension that we don't typically perceive. And if I could go on a little rant, that's something I was thinking about that makes me a little sad. If you look at the menorah, it has all these different branches, right? 8 branches, but it all goes to that one singular branch. And I think that's how we have to, perceive every Jew, no matter what path they're on. One of the sad things that I've experienced is that, unfortunately, when people get close to their path or their Rebbe, they think that it's the correct path for everyone. So if I'm Chabad, if I'm Breslov, if I'm Litvak, that is the path. And if everyone just, was able to see the books that I'm reading or that this Rebbe wrote, then the whole world would be better. And I think it's a big mistake, and it's something that makes me sad and has put me off in different things. But I know that if I actually spoke to any of those Rebbeim who led these different, groups, let's say, none of them would want any separation. And that's something that I've thought a lot about. And I personally don't put a label on myself, even though Rabbi Nachman is my Rebbe and Rav Nosson is my Rebbe, but so too the Baal Shem Tov is my Rebbe, and the Ariya Kadosh, and Rabbi Chaim Vital, and the Vilna Gaon, and everyone. And I don't want to limit myself to a certain view. And I just think it's really important for people to develop the understanding that even if they connect to a certain, path in Judaism, or it's more through Torah that they connect, or more through prayer that they connect, or more through mitzvos, whatever it might be, that other people's paths are also the correct paths for them. It turns out that most of us have been here a few times, right? In Judaism, we believe in reincarnation. You can read the Ari's Shar HaGilgulim for an amazing breakdown, and he'll explain it better than I could. But we've been here before. I, for one, believe that I was Sephardi. I'm actually Ashkenaz now, but in a previous life, I believe I was Sephardi, because I really connect to a lot of the Sephardic Rebbeim, like Rabbi Yehuda Fataya and the Meni Shchai. And I grew up in a place with a lot of Sephardim as well, and I love their customs. But nevertheless, the main point of what I'm trying to say is that we need to perceive the godliness and divinity in every single person and love the individual paths that we're all on, but recognize that it's not that Mashiach's going to come if we all take the same path. Mashiach's going to come when we realize everyone's path is actually correct, as long as, of course, it's within a halachic framework and, we're following our rabbis and, halachic rabbinic Judaism. But other than that, it's all the correct path. And that's just a beautiful thing. And one last thing I'll leave you with, this connects to this idea in Bereshis of perceiving the divinity and the Torah on everyone's face, and this light relates to the menorah as well, because there are 7 openings on a person's face: 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth. And so that adds up to 7. So you can actually perceive the glow in every single person. God willing, we can all take this message. I'm working on this myself and trying to attune myself to this idea and this perception. And I hope you have a wonderful Chag Sameach, wonderful Chanuka. We have Rosh Chodesh coming up. And just enjoy lighting the candles. Sit there. Don't run away so fast. Don't try to do other things. Just enjoy, take it in, and transform your year.